It's a pleasure to be with you as always. Looking forward to our discussion tonight. The term politics in our nation is intensifying. The dynamics of what is happening across the political spectrum sometimes is fascinating, it's disappointing, it's interesting. There's a lot of terms that we can use, and as you have your debates in the living rooms, at the bars, and in the classroom, wherever you're having a discussion today and recently and going forward on what is happening in our nation, I think we are all getting an understanding of the reality of the politics in Guyana. First of all, we know that the decisions by the court, the GCOM chairman was an illegal appointment, so every decision he has voted on over the last 18 months is null and void. And today he finally resigned, rightfully so. I'm not sure how you can resign from an office that you should have never held in the first place. He should have just walked off the job. But he's gone. A good win for our nation. A man that has made some terrible decisions, has played partisan politics, was not fit and proper for the job. He is gone. It's sad that it took 18 months during an expensive court battle for determination like that to be made. The president ought to be embarrassed that his decision was null and void. And I hope going forward, in good faith, when he meets with the leader of the opposition, hopefully soon, that a decision can be made on a new GCOM chairman that is acceptable for all. And very interesting in the court proceedings yesterday, when the Attorney General mentioned to the justices that the president had written the opposition leader to meet with him. Basically, when one can lie in the public like that, you have to wonder. He did write a letter to meet with the opposition leader, but it said to meet anytime after yesterday. And for the Attorney General to insinuate to the judges that the opposition leader did not respond was a blatant lie and misleading the court. So here's a government that is illegal as of March 21st, 2019. The APNU AFC government has become illegal. Trying to hold on to power, is ridiculous. We've got a country, a nation of good people. The polls, the Constitution was set up to ensure elections, fair and free elections can happen anytime based on the Constitution, whether the president calls it, whether there was a no confidence vote or confidence vote, and you're going to have elections. So trying to delay when you're faced, when you realize you're going to lose, and I think APNU and AFC really know deeply every actions that is happening recently since December 21st, 2018 proves that they realize they don't have they're not credible to be running government. They are not credible to be running our nation. They realize they can't do it, so the only thing they can do is hold on to power as long as they can. Illegal, that's going to be the key term going past now, with the no confidence vote being a valid vote. Any contracts that is being signed with any local investors, foreign investors, needs to be very, very carefully be considered that you are now signing an illegal contract. If you're a government person signing a check to pay someone to put in a new program, you are acting illegally. That is a dangerous situation to be in. Follow the Constitution. The Constitution says elections should have been held by March 21st. Why is Granger and his administration refusing to step away from office? And they have a fair shot at going to the polls. A fair shot. If you're so confident that you did anything good for the nation in the last 4 years, let's go to the polls. Let's bring it on. As they said in Parliament on December 21st, bring it on. Go to the polls. Let's respect the Constitution. Let's ensure that everyone has a right to vote. And for example, you hear the house-to-house registration going around. That's not part of our Registration Act. There's no room for house-to-house registration. We know, all of us know, that you have a list. Many of us are on that list. I know if I move from Queenstown to Bel Park, I ought to go in and ensure that my address change so that I am going to vote at the right polling station. Everyone that turns 18 would have been on the list, or if they're not on the list, GCOM's open a claim and objection period. Guess what? They need their ID cards. They need the ID cards for a TIN number to go work. They need the ID. So no one is disenfranchised from voting, ever. So to lie to the nation that young people are off the list that will never get to vote, that is a blatant lie. The president and the rest of his team are lying. We all have the right to register for a claim that says my name is not on the list and I need to get my name on the list. That is not done by house-to-house registration. That is done through continuous registration, through claims and objection period, and within any period of time we can have elections. Within the 3 months, elections could be held. You hold a claim and objection, whether it's 2 weeks, whether it's a month, and give everyone a chance to check that list. If your name is not on the list, get on the list. You don't need to start and waste money to come to house registration. Many people have moved. Everyone has changed their address. If you didn't change your address, go change your address next time there is a claims and objection period. If someone has died, the registration office need to get the death certificate and get their name off the list. If you know a family member is dead or a member of the community is dead and you see their name on the list, report it and get that person's name off the list. All of that is part of claims and objection. So for a government to lie to us consistently every day saying house-to-house registration is needed for credible elections when they're not credible enough to be in government is a blatant lie. We have every opportunity to be on the list. And if you're 18 years old even now, you're going to a GCOM office, you're making sure you get your ID card. Once you go and register, your name is automatically put on the voters list because you're eligible to vote. So, citizens, let's stop listening to the rhetoric. You know, when you see old people marching in front of the GCOM the other day, it says, I'm 18 and I'm not on the list. I'm young, I'm not on the list. Look at the audience that were walking around protesting. All were in their 50s and 60s. All the young people, Mr. Duncan, Mr. Bond, all of those guys that were protesting to get people on the list, they're all on the list. They all voted many times. So which young person today, I would like all the young people that are not on the list to come out. If we have a claim and objection, the question, would you go put your name on the list? The answer is yes. So where are the people that wouldn't get a chance to vote? So the lies of this government is continuing every day. They're holding on to power. They're illegal. They're causing confusion in our country. They're affecting our economics. They're affecting our foreign investors. They're destabilizing our country. They're destabilizing the region. And the international community, the citizens, political parties got to step up and make sure that we don't allow our nation to go further into destabilization. And no threats. You know, if they hear lawyers telling judges that if they don't do this and they don't do that, it's going to cause violence or it's going to cause... That is not the democratic way of doing business. You have a right to vote. If APNU is so confident that they can win an election, go to the polls. Go to the polls. and let's try it. What are your plans, APNU? You have failed the nation in the last 4 years. Nothing you can do today will change the minds of people that your promises, and I look at an ad that is going around Facebook right now. APNU promised youth jobs 2015. There's a picture of about 30 or so old men in every senior position, from Georgetown Hospital, the GCOM chairman, the GRA chairman, GRA head, many others, all old men. Those are the people that took the young people jobs. There's no room for growth. So for APNU to come today and look at a young person and says, we're going to take care of you. They're conning you, one, by telling you your name is not on the list, that you will not be able to vote. Not a truth, it's a lie, it's an untruth. We really believe that the government is doing their best to hold on to power. They know their days are numbered. What they don't realize, you can go to jail for now being part of an illegal process. That you are now doing things that you're not authorized by the Constitution to do anything outside the law. And the law is clear that says election in 3 months, cabinet order resign. We need to move into the election cycle and elect a new president and a new cabinet. And one of the exciting parts of all of this, this week we saw the presidential candidate of the PPP, Mr. Irfan Ali, outlining some of the initiatives that his government will introduce. He talks about putting back the 10,000 in people's pockets that were, to help with school children, talking about increasing that over the 5-year period, reversing all of the taxes that was in over the last 4 years that has destabilized our economy, that has caused hardship, took away our disposable funds, cost of living has gone up. He outlined the programs and plans that will bring back some semblance of reality to our economics. What do we want? We want better lives. We want more money in our pocket. We want to be able to take care of family. We want to purchase a house. We want a house lot. We want to be able to move up from a bicycle to a motorcycle to a car. We want to have our children have a better education. And Mr. Ali is outlining those initiatives with plans and programs that are not promises that talks about it without a plan. And APNU and AFC, no matter what they do now, no matter what they tell you, you will look at them and say, you had 4 years to try it. You had 4 years to say, I'll give a young person work. We're seeing companies downsizing. Teachers have complained about their salaries. They had to protest to even get the basic raises. APNU has not been able to deliver any of their promises. Instead, they put those 200 taxes in our system, destabilize our economy. Now they're destabilizing our nation. President Granger, you're destabilizing our nation. The longer you wait by disagreeing, by not following the Constitution, you're destabilizing our nation. I will look at you and tell you that right now. If you're standing right here in front of me, you're destabilizing our nation. Constitution says call election in 3 months. There's no if or but. There's no plan. There's no back door in the Constitution at all that gives you any opportunity to change that 3 months. No matter how many of us says, boy, give them a little extra time. Let's get certain things more in place. There's no way in the book, in that Bible, the Constitution, the supreme law of our nation, that gives any of us any authority to change that, unless the National Assembly get together and by 2/3. That is not happening. So the president has no authority to come to us in any time in the near future with a date outside the 3 months, which was supposed to be March 21st. Now that the court has validated it, the Caribbean court, they most likely have no other choice but says, get it done. Get it done, Mr. President. You're destabilizing our nation. Our nation is too in a pivotal mode going forward. We've got so much ahead of us, so much exciting times, so much growth to our economy. I want to take a call right now. Yes, can I help you?
Hello, good Peter. How are you, man?
Good, good, very well.
Well, I like the topic on the Constitution. Because in Guyana, we find that even the political leaders even don't know the Constitution. Because first of all, we have a lot of people in the Parliament who is pledging honor to our next country by having dual citizen. We have also from the opposition, like Gil Teixeira, you have the the foreign affairs minister, and most of them. And the Constitution states in 155, if you are in there, each of the Constitution is 1 year jail. And up to now, I haven't seen none of them from the government and the opposition hasn't been charged and put before the court and get a 1 year jail.
Well, the Constitution did say that, we had the 28 days to go through who should be on the list, not on the list. That did not happen. I think they rightfully did resign, so they're not holding that post anymore. It opened a discussion that I think is broader. The fact that, we have a diaspora of Guyanese, but we ought to, you're right, the Constitution has to be followed, and it is good that all of these things have come to fruition.
Look at the guy, William Darsoin, right? He doing a job. He plane again to Canada. Don't say he belongs to Canada. He don't be a plane. The Canadian, who he is a citizen of Canada, but sit down in Parliament here, vote, and represent the people in this country. And when he's done, he don't be a plane again. He's a Canadian.
Well, I'll take you off the air now. But what reason why Mr. Charndas jumped in the plane, and for all practical purposes, whether he's a dual citizen or not. I know Mr. Charndas well. He's served our nation extremely well. He's been in Guyana more than he's been outside of Guyana. The threat on his life that night when parliamentarians told him he will be dead that night, I personally was there with him. I was glad that he was able to get out safely. He would have been dead that night. And that's what this government ordered in Parliament that night. Parliamentarians representing this government ordered that Mr. Charndas be dead that night. That is not democracy. You have a right. I think for the most part, yes, he had dual citizenship, but he was a true Guyanese. He did go back because he was feared for his life. If he could have gone, and he could have gone to Trinidad, he could have gone to Barbados, many other places, and hide away so he is not killed. But that shows the dictatorship that has brewed in our nation over the last 4 years. For government sitting in the National Assembly to look at one of their own and tell them, not threaten, the word was, you gonna be dead tonight, was to Mr. Charndas. But overall, the Constitution got to be followed, and this is what the discussion is. Yes, can I help you?
Peter, good night. How are you?
Good night.
I want to point out something. They're harping on this house registration to be done before the election has been done, right? Now, I want to know, what is the purpose of this registration? Is for someone to be a holder of a national identification card, and they're saying on the television, if you were registered before, you have to re-register again. Now, if I have the holder of a national ID card, why do I have to go register again? That doesn't give me the right to go and vote. If I don't have an ID card, I can vote, I cannot vote.
Yeah,
I don't know if it makes sense.
Yes, the house registration, again, by law is not acceptable. One, it's a waste of our taxpayers' money. The process calls for continual registration. It calls for claim and objection period. It calls for every 14-year-old to start on the list. When you get to 18, you're extracted and you put on the voters list. Standard, very, very clean. The list is extremely clean. There's no, it's blatant lies when the president said 200,000 people on the list should not be on the list. Take off the dead. Let's sit down and spend a week going through all the death certificates. Go through the list. Take their names off if you haven't done your job, GCOM. What has GCOM been doing over the last 4 years? Every day GCOM goes to work. They're supposed to be keeping the list updated, ensuring that the addresses, people get a chance to do claim and objections, people get a chance for continuous registration. All that has been funded over decades. So to blatantly lie to our nation that house registration will clean the list up, when in a week we can have all the death certificates, we can have all the people that may not have ended up on the list for whatever reason come and tell GCOM, I'm not on the list, I want my name on the list, verify that I have moved, go through that process. Why waste taxpayers' money to come back to my house to see that I'm still alive? You know I'm still alive. You have no death certificate that I've been dead. So why should my name not stay on the list? I have a right to vote. Those are all things that I believe the government is trying to mislead the nation, and is coming from the president himself, coming from the attorney general, misleading, is coming from ministers that are no longer ministers. You're illegal. If you're a minister today, you're illegal. You should not be signing any paychecks or any contracts or any negotiations with anyone. And those are why I say to you, we need to tell the president that he's destabilizing our nation by not following the Constitution. For justices to have to come and tell you that you made an unconstitutional decision with the GCOM chairman. The GCOM chairman already got $40 million in the last 18 months or more. I don't know the exact number, but he was being paid illegally to do what? What are the CEO of GCOM, Mr. Lowingfield, what are the other staffers in GCOM doing for the last 4 years? Now to come and tell us we're going to start the list, we control the list and start the list over, when you've had 2 local elections on that list, not once in 2018, which is just a couple months ago in October, when Abdul lost significantly. Nobody went to vote for them. They never complained anything was wrong with the list. They got a beating, very bad beating. They lost local government elections by wide margins. PP won significantly across the country. They never complained with the list. Now they want a new list because they want to rig the system. I've been watching 2 videos that have been going around. One was 68, one in 73, that showed how the PNC rigged the elections. Why do you want a new list, Mr. President? Do you want to rig the elections? Why not follow the normal process of ensuring the list is updated, it's clean, it's ready to go? Why not every other elections over the last decade we have had claim and objections? You went on the list. If your name is not on the list, you went and make sure your name got on the list. No one has complained the list is bad. The list is very good. Clean it up. And we're going to have elections immediately. Simple. To delay the elections is destabilizing our country. To delay elections is destabilizing the country. And at least what we're having in this time frame is the PPP party. Yes, can I help you?
Good night.
Good night.
I don't want anybody up. The deputy chief elections officer, we don't want anybody to, since Mr. Pat is illegal, his casting vote is illegal, and therefore the lady who is appointed is illegal also.
Yes, and it was discrimination proved that the former deputy election officer should have been the one that was most qualified for the job. Those were legal decisions. That's a different part of the process that must be addressed. You're right.
All side of the man has resigned due to his illegality, and therefore the whole situation of Mr. Vishnu Prasad's appointment should be reviewed.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, and it was a bad decision. I think there was discrimination in the process, and we need to ensure that all the processes are reviewed. He was the one that had the vote that says we should have house-to-house registration, without even the legal officer of GCOM said that house-to-house registration was not part of the Registration Act. It was not a legal decision, and recommended that it's not be done. The legal officer of GCOM that was hired by the commission to represent and be part of their legal representative. What did she do? She said registration, house registration is wrong, is illegal, and should not be done. And they still want to go ahead with it because they can spend buku money walking around the country, coming and visit your home, taking pictures, looking to see who else they can add to the list. People that can't even speak English, much as a little Creolese like we all can do. They want to get them on the list. That is an opportunity for them to rig this election. They know they do not have the votes. They know that they have lost the confidence of the people that says they are not qualified anymore to run our nation. Yes. Hello. Oh, sorry, I lost you. But they're not confident. They have lost the confidence from the people. People have said, we don't want you more in power. You're not fit and proper. You're illegal now. Time to move on. But our Constitution allows them a fair shot at going back to the polls. They're going to come back with a lot of promises. And I was about to say before the call came in, and I'll wait after the call to tell you. Yes, hello.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Good night.
Good night.
Are we going ahead with this house-to-house, or are they having an election?
Thank you. The house is illegal. It's an illegal decision by the GCOM chairman. I believe that the opposition leader was very clear when he outlined what the Constitution says. He is not making that up. He's reading the Constitution. The Constitution says that after no confidence vote, election must be held in 3 months. It never said anything about you have a choice of house to house or anything else. It says election in 3 months. End of story. No one can add any lines into the Constitution now. And that's what the president of the Caribbean Court said yesterday. He can rewrite the Constitution. The Constitution he held in his hand, and he said the Constitution says after a confidence vote and you lose that vote, you have to have election in 3 months. We're past that stage because of the stupidity of this government, the incompetence, the delaying tactics, the bullyism, the dictatorship that they're put, the lies that they've presented to the nation and the courts. 3 months, elections gotta be held. And let me tell you what I was going to say from the start. During all of this, the PPP has spent the time over the last 4 years developing their plan, looking at what they may have done well in their years of government, what they have done, could have done better. They have refined their plan. They're presenting it to the nation. Our presidential candidate is outlining those initiatives. Pay attention to them. It's going to make your life, your well-being better. It's going to make your life better. Not rhetoric of, oh, you're going to have a good life, you're going to have this and that and promises. It's going to make your life better because it's practical decisions. Simple things as he outlined in terms of what the plans are initially is looking at the reversal of the 200 plus taxes, taking electricity and water, taking the VAT off of that, putting the programs that were canceled, rehiring all those CSOs in the villages, bringing back the sugar industry, getting those people back to work, looking at the new generation, looking at young people and women. He is outlining those initiatives with practical programs that will make our lives better. There's nothing Aptu and Granger can come with now that says they could do better. They had their time, they had every opportunity, they have failed the nation, they have destabilized our nation, they have embarrassed our nation.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
Yes, I was watching the program and, I would love to ask something, right?
Mm-hmm.
They said in the, that when the government was crippled, right, elections supposed to call 3 months from that date.
Yes.
And the House supposed to be upheld as well, right? But House was actually after the government was crippled, right?
Yeah, that came up after, yes. That whole discussion came up after the no confidence vote.
That the election's supposed to be in 3 months.
Yes.
And that by law.
Yes.
Why isn't it happening?
Well, we know what has happened, the delaying tactics. The Chief Justice in January said, follow the law. First of all, if you follow the timeline,
Yes.
the Speaker of the House, I'll take you off there, Speaker of the House validated the vote, says it's valid. The Chief Justice validated the vote. Somewhere in that process, somebody came up with 33, 34, delayed all the way to the appeal court. 2 judges, we're not hearing from them. Someone said 34 is a majority of 65. Blatantly inconsistent with every legal opinion, with every mathematical, with every dictionary out there. They delayed the process, went to the Caribbean court, came back with no confidence vote is valid. Election got to be held in 3 months. No ifs, no but. The president is squatting on our taxpayers' money. The ministers are illegal. And I'll take one last call and I will end the program. Yes.
Good night.
Good night.
I believe the APNU is doing this also thing because after the election, got a reason to, their supporters saying that there is rather than to lose the election.
Yes, I agree. It's a blatant lie. And I know their APNU supporters are much more intelligent than that. They all know they're on the list. They all know they can get on the list if they're not on the list for whatever reason. They don't need to go through the process. They don't need to look and add Haitians or other people to the list. That's not what our nation is looking to do. Let's get on with following our Constitution, Mr. President. Stop destabilizing our country. You're causing or embarrassment to our nation. You have lost. You have a fair shot to try it again. Let's go to elections. Thank you for joining me. God bless you, and we're ready to make our nation well liked again, and all our people getting an opportunity to live in peace and harmony, and our future is bright. Listen to Irfan Ali as he outlines his programs, and pay attention to where you fit into that. And I really and strongly believe all of us well-being will be in a better place come after election. Thank you for joining me again.